Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for accepting my proposal. I want to apologize in advance for my recurring cough because I'm still recovering from COVID. But anyway, I'm really happy to attend this event. For me, this paper is a slight observation of an art curator and the conditions all art workers were put during the pandemic we're still facing. Examples I chose reflect how some art institutions had to become flexible in a glimpse and how digital artists benefited from the whole situation. From the moment computer became an avoidable component of our life, artists strive to broaden the features it can offer them. During the years, artists had experimented with internet. We saw projects that allow people to grow a public garden by accessing their personal computers or read correspondence and chats that load slowly due to the internet speed at the moment it was created. All of that made a unique space of digital art where traditional or non-digital colleagues were not able to exist for quite a while. It all ended with a social media invasion that created a situation where you literally do not exist if you forgot to set up your Facebook, Instagram, Vimeo, or YouTube page, or just a personal website. With these instruments, art became a bit closer to the viewer. It became easier to avoid galleries and art dealers by just following your favorite artist on Instagram. Of course, a picture of a painting can never be compared with a digital algorithm, which was specially designed for a computer or for a media installation. The situation became more peculiar in 2020 when all of us were who preferred offline activities were forced to go digital. In fact, it was a kind of a dare, not only for artists, but also for the curators who work is not connected, is closely connected with a spectator and a piece of art. In my personal experience, it was an interesting opportunity that taught me and my colleagues a lesson on how to document, preserve, and present art in the conditions of the brave new world. It is out of question that each person who works in the sphere of contemporary art read Walter Benjamin's essay, The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction. From there, we know that Benjamin thought that even an outskirt theater production of a renowned play would be better than a film because a film has no aura. He applied the same approach to art that can be multiplied, like printed art and photography. But the fact is that we break a lithography, when we break a lithography stone or destroy a negative, there would be nothing to recreate. This way, the artist can stop the amount of her artwork addition. Same can be said about media and digital art. As soon as the artist deletes a file after making some copies or screenshots of a web page where it could be uploaded, there would be nothing left to multiply or share. But what about aura? Benjamin says that there is none in such kind of works. He says, quote, even the most perfect reproduction of a work of art is lacking in one element: its presence in the time and space, its unique existence, and the place where it happens to be. End quote. According to this statement, media art cannot be included into this elite aura world, which is very arguable. For this matter, another category was developed by a German philosopher, Gernot Böhme. He named it atmosphere. This category can be applied to any type of art without any judgments of the medium it was made in. This way, atmosphere analyzes the environment an art piece creates in an exhibition space. Quote, With multimedia installations, there is a full affirmation of the idea of the work-come environment, a work that envelopes the viewer. Thus, we react to these installations as though reacting to an environment into which we enter, end quote. This example highlights the fact that today we need new categories to speak about art because it is not only sculpture and painting, but so much more. Of course, this rule can be easily applied to a traditional exhibition space, which we enter in a gallery or a museum. There we have all important components: space, art, spectator, but as we all know, the rules may change constantly. It is out of mentioning that 2020 became a shock to all exhibition curators. Literally, in a second, all of us were forced to reinvent the way how we demonstrate art. um, First, for those who constantly work with media and digital artists, it wasn't a hard job. But for those who are used to create mixed exhibitions or physical art exhibitions, it was a big challenge. First of all, when we work with a digital exhibition, we do not see a physical spectator. So this category becomes quite abstract. Yes, an exhibition website gives us a number of clicks, a number of views, but we don't know these people. We don't see them. We are not able to interact with them in any way. That leads us to a crisis, and I prefer to name it as spectatorship crisis, because a spectator in the digital sphere, he or she doesn't have this sense, a feeling of event, of something happening, because when you enter a real gallery space, you prepare for it. You need to walk there and to do several steps. But when you're in your computer, sometimes you don't even focus enough. It's like, as I understand it. To trace how the spectators category became more and more abstract, I would like to overview three exhibitions. Two of them I had a chance to curate myself. One of them seems the possible future of digital curation. The first example that I would like to show is exhibition Playing Bauhaus. Basically, it's a documentation. The show was on in 2019 as a physical exhibit at the Russian State Art Library. It was the first project from our resident types educational project, RSL Studio, which is aimed to work with young and emergent artists who are still students of Moscow Contemporary Art Schools and art colleges. This exhibit has a very simple concept. Each participant chose an artist who worked in Bauhaus as a mentor and created an artwork which was a replica or a dialogue with the mentor's creative work, and also demonstrated what impact the student makes by using this language in the contemporary world. At some point, it became obvious that the show was popular among youth, which is located out of Moscow, but not all of them are able to visit it. Due to that, the decision was made to create a detailed documentation which contained a 3D panorama image and a couple of video interviews of the participants. It seemed enough at the moment. In some time, an event that affected the whole sphere had happened, and representatives of cultural institutions were forced to work from home. During that time, it became clear that the digital reconstruction, the way it had been made, wasn't enough. It gave a limited amount of information. So in order to give the potential spectator a better understanding on how the exhibition pieces were developed, young artists agreed to give their sketches and bibliography they used while doing the research. This way, the digital documentation stopped being so flat in a figure of speech. So as you see, there are some dots that you can click on. They give you a commentary of an artist or the book, and it's how to get it, order it in the library. Plus, some of the work contained video fragments, and the landing, which was made on Tilda, gives the artist's commentary on their creative work and what do they think about their mentors. While digging deeper in the specifics of the new cultural Zoom life, it became obvious that all institutions need to demonstrate something. So Moscow art scene became just a huge, huge field for all kinds, high and low quality digital exhibitions. For those departments that work with art, I can name the Pushkin 21st Century Department, Pushkin Museum of Fine Arts in Moscow. They made a fantastic project, 100 Ways to Live a Minute, which demonstrates a huge number of classical and new video and digital art examples. Plus, during the lockdown, they made limited time screenings with scholar commentaries on it, which allowed to have us some sort of a feeling and atmosphere that we're visiting a real show. For RSAL, one of the first fully digital projects was VKHUTEMAS 21st. It was dedicated to 100 years anniversary of VKHUTEMAS, and it had the same model as playing Bauhaus. But since we went to lockdown, it was decided to change the version of how the show will look like. So it was planned as an exhibition is a physical space, but a month before it should have opened, it became digital. For young artists, and it came out to be an interesting challenge, because in the pre-pandemic life, they knew that they had to visit the library and work with literature on the subject before choosing a mentor and creating their own piece. In fact, half of the works had a digital approach, not because they wanted it when they started working on their project, just because they understood there was no other choice. So 2 digital zines, a digital series of book covers, and an animated photo piece became a part of this white cube exhibit. It is of my opinion that this experience helped some of these artists to experiment with different mediums, because not all of them were used to cope with it, and it was a nice push for them. Artists like Anastasia Buisha-Milshaev, Masha Spreiter, and Katerina Seryozhnaya had never worked with digital media at all. They chose this way, unlike their partners in the show. Many of us will agree that it is quite tricky to fully engage with objects that were documented for online feed. As active spectators, we demand the opportunity to walk around them if it is a sculpture, or be able to touch them when the artist claims that his or her piece is interactive, like you see this metal sculpture created by one of the participants. She wanted to put an interactive piece into a physical space, but she doesn't speak the language of media art, so she preferred to just make a photo documentation of her sculpture. And since this project was low funded, it was quite understandable that the curator was in no position to demand from each participant to download new soft and learn to work with it in a very small time limit. As we follow the trends and tendencies of digital art, and online demonstrations among artists, we are unable, unable to notice one of the best, in my opinion, projects that was made in this sphere in 2020. It's an exhibition made by the first year of study project-oriented MA program, the Digital Art. And their exhibition expectation of the new nature is one of the best projects because basically they went a different way. First of all, it's great because this MA project exists in Russia and it's located outside of Moscow. It's in Vladivostok, which is not typical for such programs. So as soon as we follow the link to this exhibition, we see that the organizers were kind enough to offer the potential spectator several options on how to connect with the show. You can watch it on your smartphone screen or on your computer, but you can have also a choice to use VR goggles to engage with exhibition objects. While you scroll the main page, you see that there is a section that explains you how to move in this digital space. And the keys that the designers used and programmed there are quite similar to those that you use while playing a computer game. So this way, they try to recreate an atmosphere as if you're visiting a physical gallery. The design of the space is quite futuristic, as if the spectator is entering a science fiction novel where a group of people is cruising in outer space during their vacation. What catches the eye the most is the fact that, well, the designers try to overcome this abstractness. It's not a 3D model of a real space. It's a new space that lives somewhere else, a new category. But for more involvement, they also made chat rooms. So basically, if you go there, you hear some sounds, you can also chat with somebody and exchange your ideas on the pieces you see. This way, your, your computer and internet surfing become more and more interesting. So in conclusion, I would like to stress up that though my colleagues and some of them are very happy that some of COVID restrictions are lifted and they hope that they will never go to digital experience again, I am very happy because this way we came to an understanding. There is no way back. We need to work with it. We need to understand it. For people who work with physical objects, we need to be flexible and much more open-minded. And maybe this conditions provoked much more artists to work with media and new media, and now they can speak both languages, traditional art language and new media art language, which is actually great. Thank you very much.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.